Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I have been dreading having to revisit and go back and watch any of this piece of shit film. And I feel a little bad. I do, because this franchise, the Indiana Jones movies, are some of the most sacred films in Hollywood, some of the most well-respected movies in Hollywood, mostly the first three. These are movies that I used to hear about all the time as a kid, used to always get referenced or parodied or cosplayed or just anything. I knew so much about these films before I finally watched them myself. And then when I did watch the first three movies myself, I said, well, goddamn, these are pretty good. I enjoyed them quite a bit, but I don't have the nostalgic feelings about the franchise that most people do. I did not watch these as a kid, and so the first time I saw Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I thought it was awful. I lost my shit. There was no part of me that tried to trick myself, like I know some people did. They tried to convince themselves that this movie was good. They tried to tell themselves, hey, maybe if I watch it again, and again, and again, that I will find some redeeming things about it. But no, I knew immediately that this was a turd. This movie came out 19 years after The Last Crusade. Can you imagine if the franchise had just ended with The Last Crusade? If it was just the three movies and that's it? It would be looked upon as one of the greatest trilogies of all time. And for some people, it still is. For some people, they don't even acknowledge that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull even exists. And I can't say I blame them. Now, at the time of this movie, Harrison Ford was about 64, 65 years old, which is crazy to think about because I'm so used to him being way older, like in more recent years, right? That when you go back and see him at 65, you kind of think, wow, he's not as old as I remember. I mean, he's older, don't get me wrong, and he's much older than he was in the original films. And yes, there are plenty of scenes of him running and fighting that don't look good because they either use CGI for the stunts or they just use a stunt guy, which I'm not expecting Harrison Ford to do the stunts himself. No, I don't want him to be doing a lot of these stunts himself because he shouldn't have to, right? But I feel like they could have taken better advantage of this fact. The fact that Harrison Ford and, in conjunction, Indiana Jones, the character, would be in their 60s. Instead of having him run around, instead of having him act like he's the same age that he was all those years ago, Steven Spielberg was quoted as saying that to him, he couldn't tell how much older Harrison Ford was between Last Crusade and this film. What the hell? Come on, you can tell. He looks better than I remember, but you could still tell mostly from his movements and from the action scenes that this is not the same guy. So don't play it that he's the same guy. Take advantage that he's older. Have the story be about him being older and how maybe he can't do this shit anymore. No. The beginning, you have this crazy action scene that I couldn't help but roll my eyes at least 4 or 5 different times. But it culminates with the infamous, and yes, it's infamous, nuking the fridge scene. This literally created a whole new expression. This created a whole new saying that people say when things have gone too far. When you're watching a scene in a movie and it goes beyond the realms of possibilities and believability. I mean, this is the Indiana Jones franchise. They've done a lot of crazy, out there, potentially supernatural things in the past, especially the Temple of Doom. But they've never crossed that line. They never went so over the top that you would out loud say, what the fuck? But now, just at the very beginning of this film, they did so. Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, there's a nuclear bomb that's about to go off. It's about to be detonated. And so he jumps into a refrigerator to survive the nuclear blast. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know whether or not this is believable, because obviously on face value, no. But who knows? Maybe there is some weird scientific fact. Maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson can tell me whether or not a person can survive a nuclear blast being in a refrigerator. Maybe it's possible. But for me to have to watch this and go along with this, given how silly it is, given how dumb it is, the fact that they made toys, action figures of this event, it just pains me to remember. It pains me to think about. It pains me to see Harrison Ford at his age doing dumb shit like this. Marianne Ravenwood, she was actually one of my favorite side characters from the earlier films. She was from the first one, and I thought she had great rapport and interactions with Indy. I always thought they should have stayed together. In fact, I don't know why they didn't, honestly. But they brought back Karen Allen, and she still is great. She still looks great, and it was nice that they brought her back. It was. But the way that she's brought back, we find out that her and Indy have spawned a son named Mutt Williams. Mutt. Because let's continue the joke that Indy was named after the dog, so why not this character? And when you first see Shia LaBeouf, I get upset for so many reasons. Now, I like Shia LaBeouf as an actor. Like, in general, I think he gives far more good performances to great performances than any bad ones. So it's not a matter of me not liking him. It's not a matter of me saying, oh no, Shia LaBeouf is the absolute wrong casting for this role. Even the idea of Indiana Jones having a son isn't the worst thing in the world. Is it what I would have done, or would I have done it like this? Definitely not. Definitely not. There's far better ways that you could have introduced Indiana Jones' son. And he was clearly being teed up as the successor of the series. Obviously, Steven Spielberg had a huge hard-on for Shia LaBeouf at this time, between the Transformers movies and the various other random films that you could see Shia in. I didn't buy it. I think it felt too force-fed that this was the new hot young guy that everybody was putting in their blockbuster films. It just was too manufactured, too forced. Hollywood always goes through these cycles when they're trying to tell us, the audience, hey, this is the new guy. This is the one that you need to pay attention to. This is the guy that you have to like. And we always decide to rebel because we don't like being told what to like. We don't like being told what to want. And so even if Shia could have pulled this off, if this was written better, even if Shia in general is a good actor, because he is, it's just, it shouldn't have been forced upon us in this way. I think Shia even himself deserved better than that. And I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it, the way how he was written, to just be, upset with Indy because he wasn't there in his life, and just there back and forth, and he just came across as more whiny and annoying. He was dressed up in the leather jacket, and he had the motorcycle. He's the ultimate greaser. I know this takes place in the 50s, but it's hard for me to watch this now and take it seriously, because I just kind of think with his hair and whatnot, he looks absolutely ridiculous. But one person that does not look ridiculous, and I actually will praise as an actress, Cate Blanchett plays this Soviet agent who's the villain, the bad guy. There is something about Cate Blanchett that I can watch all day. I can. She's mesmerizing. She has this aura about her where she does have presence. She is somebody who can, in any given film, change her appearance, change her look, change her acting, the accent that she puts on, her demeanor, her stern looks, and the way that she comes across whenever she does something pretty sinister. I mean, I buy it. I do. And so maybe there's a part of me that just thinks that, wow, evil Cate Blanchett is pretty hot. That's very possible, but I can't crap on her and her performance. I can't pretend like, oh man, she's terrible in this movie, because she's actually not. She's actually decent to watch. But how many times in this movie is there a chase scene? I know the Indiana Jones films, they're known very famously for having great chase scenes, but it just felt like every 15 minutes, we have to have a chase, we have to do another chase. And maybe too, it's because in this movie, the overuse, the overabundance of CGI. I mean, my God, I know CGI was the new hip, cool thing, especially in the mid 2000s. You had a bunch of superhero movies just being made and looking better than ever. But for whatever reason, the CGI here does not hold up. And I honestly didn't think it looked good at the time when it came out. It looked dated even back then. There was too much of reliance of it. I guess we decided not to actually location scout and actually have people in real environments, real jungles. The backgrounds of a lot of these scenes look awful. It almost looks like a cartoon. Especially, speaking of more chase scenes, how about chasing and running with the monkeys? Holy crap, is this not a terrible idea? I mean, I don't know who to blame for some of this stuff, because you see so many people written down here for writing or for story, or is it just Spielberg, right? Spielberg at this time had already done classic films. He made his name off of making movies that we consider to be household names that we all grew up on. And even special effects wise, when you look at movies like Jaws and Jurassic Park and so many films that were cutting edge, pushed the technology forward in whichever way that they did. I don't know how he himself went backwards with the overuse of CGI. Him being an old school director should have known the importance of a movie looking real, the importance of a movie feeling like, especially when you're dealing with the subject matters and the plot that this movie decides to go. I can't believe that everything else and the realism of that wasn't a huge importance to being made. I mean, the budget for this film was $185 million. It's not like they said, hey, let's make a fourth movie, but let's lower the budget. Let's try to go a little down and dirty, a little grittier. No, they went all out with this budget. There's no reason why the CGI should look this bad. And if the CGI is going to look this bad, there's no reason why with that same budget you couldn't have gone more practical, that you couldn't have gone to more real places and used actual prosthetics and just have real monkeys or real animals even. Real monkeys probably would have been a bitch and a half to do. But I just, it blows my mind. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the CGI. It doesn't matter about me complaining, because this movie made $790 million back. So fuck me, right? What the fuck do I know? Now, this plot that I was talking about, this over dumb plot that I still to this day can't believe they decided to do. I know the Indiana Jones movies, they do go out there. They have done some crazy and weird things, I admit. But aliens, really? Really? Fucking aliens. So the whole point of this movie, the crystal skulls are actually alien skulls. You almost forget, or at least I do. At the very beginning, they talk about how these are supposedly alien bones and skeletons. And I think the first time I saw this, I assumed that it was fake, or I assumed that the big reveal at the end, after all this talk, would be that no, it's not really aliens. It's really this. It's really something else. Even if it's supernatural based, I just was not expecting them to go all the way and actually have aliens be the thing. Now, maybe other fans, other people would have been disappointed if it was a bait and switch, if it was a reveal of like, nope, not aliens, it's really this tribe, or it's really a fake, or it's really this. I don't know. I don't know what other people would have thought, but I think I would have preferred that, especially when you get to the part where the skeleton bones come together and it forms the live alien. And again, the CGI of this alien, this looks like a cartoon. It looks like we've now gone into Who Framed Roger Rabbit territory. It just, this doesn't look like it's tangible. It doesn't look like it's actually there in front of them. This looks silly as fuck. It looks like a parody. I should be laughing because that should be what they're going for. But no, they want it to be shocking. They want it to be some huge epic moment. And Cate Blanchett, somebody who actually came across as threatening at times, somebody who actually could have been a big deal here. She does the dumb thing of, yes, alien, tell me everything. Give me all of the knowledge that you can. So what does he do? What does the alien do? He just fucking blows up her head. I mean, he basically just puts in all of this powers and shit into her head, and it's too much for her, and it fries her brain. I mean, how lame. How lame for your main villain who was capable and a great actress. This is how she goes out. I know the original film, the villains, their faces melted, but who really gave a shit about those guys? That was just a huge fucking shock and damn awesome effect, even for that time, still holds up. This, I just thought was silly. I did. And then Mac. I didn't even mention the Mac character. He was a supposed old friend of Indiana Jones at the very beginning, like the very, very beginning, before the fridge got nuked. He betrayed Indy. He turned on him. And so why should I care about this Mac character? It'd be different if he was his friend or on his side the entire movie, or he actually was a little more contemplative, that like maybe he really didn't want to be a bad guy, but I just didn't give a shit about him. So when he got thrown into some pocket dimension, some portal or some said shit, I didn't care. In fact, I said, good riddance, Mac. And that last shot where the terrible CGI flying saucer comes rising up, I really want to know, if I could talk to these writers or Spielberg himself, I'd love to know, what was the desired effect? What did you want the audience to feel when they saw that shitty ass looking alien flying saucer come out and fly away? Like, were we supposed to be enamored? Were we supposed to be upset? Were we supposed to be happy? I don't know. Because this felt hugely anticlimactic. Now, the movie ends, they try to end it in a happy note because Indiana Jones ends up marrying Marion Ravenwood. And look, if this was something that happened at the end of the first film, or if this was something that happened in the third movie, since the second film is a prequel, that would be more satisfying. That would make more sense to me. I don't really get why all of these years they just now get them together. Maybe it's just one of those deals where somebody out there said, hey, let's just bring her back and get them together. But it honestly feels like too little too late. Or maybe if this movie was better, I'd feel a lot better about this ending. The story is by George Lucas, so I know he didn't write the script. I know he's not maybe 100% responsible for the terrible dialogue, but I can't help but think, my God, George Lucas, he created Star Wars back in the 70s, created Indiana Jones. Some of the best franchises and best characters that we've ever seen in pulp culture history. But man, oh man, how did he fuck up both franchises in the same decade? I'm talking about the Star Wars prequels, which I know have their fans, and even I have somewhat warmed up a little bit, not 100%. I still think they're bad, but I've warmed up a little bit more to the prequels, but still, it's a huge fumble. It's a huge just fuck up. In this movie, this franchise, I don't know how one guy does it to two different franchises. It's shocking. It's one of those deals where maybe we should take away all of his pens and pencils and paper and typewriters and computers, whatever he uses to write scripts. My God, this is painful. This movie's painful to think about. This movie's painful to watch. This movie's painful to just go back and revisit in any form, any shape. Ugh, my brain hurts. My head hurts. I have a headache. Fuck this movie! Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Do you even acknowledge that the movie exists? Because I sure don't. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!